page 3, just a note, the names for your site, whether it's kineticbistro.com or kineticbistro.com/index.html, they're referring to the same site. So that's the same page. The index.html or index.htm page will be your default home page for your site. All right, we are going to rename some of our pages on our site for search engine optimization. With your Kinetic site open, click on the Menu 1 HTML page and change the name to Dinner Menu. I've already done it here, but you just simply highlight it and change the name, and then change the name for Menu 2 to Lunch Menu. Remember, for naming conventions, to only use lowercase, use numbers 0 to 9. Do not use caps, do not use any symbols, use hyphens and underscores only, and no spaces. Update all the pages after you change the names to Lunch Menu and Dinner Menu. And then we're going to create our document titles for individual pages. Open up your index.html page and go ahead and click on Split View so you can see the code. And we can see that our first line of code is always going to be doc.html. It's showing us the HTML page, and then our heading contains our title, which for yours should read untitled since you haven't given it title yet. So the untitled name will be your default. Remember, this title is not going to actually show up in your browser page. It's going to be at the top of your tab of your browser. So it's just the title of your page. Select your title where it says Untitled and go to Find and Replace. And where it says Untitled, go to Replace and just type in Kinetic Bistro, pipe Lancaster, California, and then we're going to add pipe Gourmet Casual Dining. And you can find that pipe usually above your backslash on the Mac keyboard. And then we're just going to add a space at the end here. Go ahead and replace the untitled text with this title and go ahead and click on Replace All. I'm going to go to my browser here, which I've got set up. I'm going to select Chrome, and then you can see the title on my tab here reading the title that we just input. And go ahead and click Replace All to replace all your titling text, and click Yes to proceed. Look at the title in your Properties panel, and then you can add that Gourmet Casual Dining if you haven't already. Turn to page 54 in your textbook and go ahead and update the titles for all the other pages on your site, including your contact, events, menus, and then be sure to save and repeat the process. To save time, I'm not going to go through all those steps. The last two steps we're going to do is cloak a folder on our site, and then we are going to delete the site. When we cloak a file or folder, we're simply hiding it so that it does not upload to the final web server. We can still access the files and we can still uncloak it, but that way we don't have to unnecessarily upload files onto our server that are not going to be used on our final site. When you go to your Kinetic site, control right click and make sure that cloaking is enabled. I want to cloak this resources folder, which contains our Photoshop tables file. We don't want to upload a Photoshop file to our final web server, so I'm going to cloak the entire resources folder by just controlling right click, going to cloak, cloaking, and then cloak. And you can see the red slash telling me that the file is now hidden and will not be uploaded to the server. And then you can always refresh that. And then if you want to uncloak it, simply control right click again and you can uncloak. Now I'm going to close my index page and I'm ready to export my site, so I'm complete with managing it. I'm going to go to Manage Sites in my Files panel, select the Kinetic site, and the first step I want to do is export the currently selected site. And that allows me I'm backing up my settings, and it allows me to save all my settings. So I'm not actually deleting the site, I'm just exporting it currently from Dreamweaver so I can work with another site if I want to. So you can select your root folder, and it's going to save it with the STE extension. I've already saved mine, so I'm going to cancel. I'm not going to save it again. And then once it's saved, you're good to go, and you can delete the current site by just clicking on the minus icon. It says you cannot undo this action, but I've already exported and saved it, so I'm good to go. I'm going to click yes and done. And if I wanted to go back to import that site again, I would just click on import site and select this site that's backed up and open it up again. And that's it for stage 3. Now we have organized our site. We've made some hyperlinks, some email link. So hopefully you're more familiar with Dreamweaver, and we'll come back with some more text formatting. In Module 4, Discussion for Best Sites, you will differentiate between poor and well-designed websites. Be sure to cite an example of each, one good and one poor website, and then just submit your post in the discussion forum. For homework 5, I'm going to do a quick overview for the rentals assignment. And then I will also do an overview video on how to format text in Dreamweaver. You will submit this assignment as a URL website address, and you can see the linked examples in the gray text on the PDF assignment sheet. And you'll need to go ahead at this point and register your site on using the ASU web host, and I will also have instructions on how to do that in this video. You will need to open up the web document, the web host document on the As You Learn course page. I have the rentals files downloaded from Against the Clock opened in Dreamweaver. I'm in split view so you can see the code, the source code for the website pages. Be sure that you're in the source code and not the style sheet code. And we'll talk more about CSS style sheets and how to attach that. But for now, we want to be in the actual source code for our page layout. The main objective of this homework is just to link all your navigation elements, also link all your property pages. If you look at your files panel, you can see all the pages from the index, home page, amenities page, properties, contact page, and then you can also link the email and the Against the Clock website on every page, so that when you go to view in your browser, the links will work back to the home page, as well as all the properties, the email, and the Against the Clock website. So you want to make sure that every linked page is also linked, hyperlinked to the website, email, and the additional properties. And then you can always go back to the home page on every web page. So that's just good practice to always link back so that your navigation is easy to find on every single page of your site. So that's all you're doing in this assignment, is linking everything, and it is actually quite a bit up to link, so make sure you don't miss anything. Some shortcuts for if you want to link all of your navigation pages. Instead of, I'm going to go to HTML in my properties panel, linking each one individually on every single page, you can copy the code. So if, for example, I'm on the index page now, I click in the navigation area. In my source code, I can copy that unordered list code. Just go to Edit, Copy, and then I can open up my properties page or another page, go to my navigation element, find the unordered list code, and just paste it in, doing an edit paste, and then you will also paste all of the links so that you don't have to relink everything. And then the same thing with the website and the email address. You can just copy and paste. So if I click on my email link here, I can do a select all and then copy that onto the next page. Same with the Against the Clock website. I can copy that URL and paste it into the next page. One problem that you may encounter when you hyperlink the home page and all of the other pages in the navigation menu is that you may see the contact text drop down to the next line. If that happens, a simple way to fix that is to go into CSS Designer and select the text. Actually, you want to select the tag for the nav bar. So in my CSS Designer panel, I'm going to look for my nav bar selector, and I'm going to actually select nav bar A, and then the font weight is going to show up as bold. So you see what it happens when the bold is selected, the contact text drops down to the next line. You can change that to normal, and that will bring it back up. So once you change it in the selector here, the navbar A, that'll change it on all of the web pages. And you might want to have it opened up along with Dreamweaver so that you can see and refer back to it. With a ASU account, all students are assigned a web hosting service through AppState, and you just have to use your username and password. If you change your password, just keep in mind you will have to update it as well. It might take a while to update that. You'll be using your public HTML folder on your AppState web host. So in Dreamweaver, we're going to go to Manage Sites, and I have my site already uploaded here, but you want to create a new site. And for your site name, you can just enter the course name, GRA 3512 with your name, something simple, and then determine your local site folder, which would be in that WIP work in progress folder, wherever you have that. Then you can go ahead and save. Click on the pencil icon. Your local site folder should be determined. Then click on Servers and select the plus button to add a new server. Just a note, my site, this portfolio site I've got up for another class, I am not using the AppState web host. I'm using another web host called Pair Server. I've got several different web hosts that I'm using, but I'm just going to input the AppState one here just so you don't get confused. So for your server name, you can just type in the GRA 3512, and that's just so you know which server you're using. You want to select SFTP for your connection. Then for your SFTP address, you're going to enter the AppState edu. Make sure you use all lowercase. Authenticate using your username and password, and just type in your AppState username and password. And you can save your password unless you're on a public computer, then you don't want to save it there. And you can do a test to make sure that your server connection is working. For your root directory, you want to type in public _HTML, and your web URL is going to be http://appstate.edu, and then include the first letter of your last name, / again, and then your username. And so just follow the directions on that document. Save your settings, and then you should be able to connect. So I've already done that. I'm going to scroll down. There's a screenshot so you can see what it looks like. After you define your site settings, then you want to connect to the server through Dreamweaver and upload your files to your web host. So going back to Dreamweaver, I already have my site imported. I want to go to my options menu, go to View and Expand Files panel. And that allows you to see both sides here, your remote server files and then your local root folder files. And so you don't have anything in your remote files yet. I'm going to click here, and now I see my local root folders files have been uploaded to my remote server. So to do that, let's go back to the document. You can click on the Connect button in the toolbar. So this is the connect or disconnect. So I am already connected, so you want to go ahead and connect. And then you can collapse or expand. If you just want to see your local files, you can collapse it, and then you can go back and expand your files panel again. You can use these up and down arrows to put files into your remote server. You can synchronize your files if you want to upload everything in your local file folder to your root folder, or you can select individual files to upload. If you want to download the files, you just click on the down button. So once you've done that, go ahead and synchronize your files. And you may not have any files yet, so I'm going to go back, working a little bit backwards now, but I wanted to make sure you know how to set up your file and upload to the server. And then I'm going to go ahead and collapse this and open up my index page. So what you want to do is you want to create a new HTML page. Make sure you select HTML, and you can give it a document name. We're using HTML5, and we're not going to attach a CSS file at this point. So I've already done that, and I named mine index.html. So you want to go ahead and name it index.html. So this is your home page, and we're just doing some very basic formatting. At the top of the page, let's look at the code here. So our first line is that doc type HTML, then HTML, and then we have our head. Within that head, there's the opening tag and then the closing head tag. Within that, we have our title tag, which is named index. This title is not going to show up on your web page, but it only shows up at the top of the browser. So if I go ahead and go now and look at my browser, I can see it's named index on my tab. So to give it a title, I want to give my body tag. And if you just type in, you can type in a title. It's going to be GRA 3512 portfolio. Update that here. Then write your name on the next line. And you can do some basic formatting here. Selecting your heading, I've selected heading 1 in my properties panel, and that's just the largest size heading. So just very simple formatting. Then for my name, I've selected heading 2. And I have a sample page link here, and I'm just going to open up that sample page. Got my files panel open, sample HTML, and I just have a brief introduction of myself. I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste that over to my index page so you can see. So for you, yours is going to look a little bit different, but underneath your name, you can go ahead and include a simple introduction of yourself. And this is going to be used on your e-portfolio. So whatever you want to tell us about yourself for your e-portfolio, when we get to that stage, This is just kind of an outline for you to use later on. You can include interests, hobbies, give me about a paragraph here, and you can format that. So for my interests and hobbies, I've used the heading 4, and you can see the heading 4 tag in my code. I'm in split view. And then for the paragraph, I just have my paragraph tag, the opening and closing tag. So that can all go on your index page. Then for your next line, instead of sample, you're going to have the text formatting in hyperlinks. So go ahead and create a link called text formatting in hyperlinks, and you want to create a new page. So go ahead and go to File, New, create a new HTML page. I have mine created already, so I'm going to open up my text HTML. Name that text HTML. Remember to use lowercase. And you can give it the title of text formatting and hyperlinks or text formatting examples with your name. And then follow the assignment sheet and include the necessary elements for the assignment. So you want to include a heading, a subheading. You can use underline, bold, italics, bulleted or numbered items, some different colors, different font sizes, and some hyperlinks. So I'm going to go through some of this. I've got a bold. All I'm doing in my properties panel is selecting bold. For italics, I've selected italics and then underline. I can go to left align, and here I'm going to jump over and select CSS for my style sheet. So there are some formatting features that I need to go to CSS to access. So that will be including so I can align left, I can align right, center, and then I can add some colors. In the CSS panel, you have a swatch property definer here. If you just click on that, you can select any web color. You can also go to an outside source using a color picker and just copy and paste the code for the color that you want. Then for your bulleted list, I'm going to go back to HTML, and you can select an unordered list, and then you can also select a numbered list. For different font sizes, I'm going to go back to CSS, and you can go from extra small to extra large or extra extra large, so you can play around with that, play around with the different heading sizes. And then I'm just going to move my properties panel so you can see the hyperlinks. So you want to include a hyperlink to Google. Just type in hyperlink to Google, highlight Google. I'm going to go back to HTML panel, and you can just copy and paste the Google URL in here. It has to have the HTTP://. So you want to copy and paste that entire URL into the link. And then for the target, we're going to select blank to open it up as a new page so that we still have our index page open. Then you want to create a hyperlink to App State website, and again copy that entire URL and open it up as a blank page. Then include an email address called website feedback. Just type in mail to your App State address, and then you can target that as a blank target as well. Then create a hyperlink to the top of the page. So I'm typing in top, highlight the word top, and just type in under link here the hashtag top, and that will take you to the top of it. Then for a hyperlink back to the index page, you can use any of the methods we've learned. You can point it back to, I'm going to just go ahead and point that to my index HTML page, so it will take me to that HTML page, and I can open that as a blank page as well. Then the last thing is you want to open or link to an image or a word processing file. I have a JPEG image here in my images folder that I've linked to. You can use any method that you've learned to hyperlink that so that it will open it. I'm going to open that up in a new page as well. And then you always want to provide a link back to your home page. So this one is linking, I have a new index page called Portfolio Index that I'm linking it to. I'm going to go back to my index page now. And you can go and look at some of the code here. You can see all your hyperlink references and where they take you to. Again, we're just doing very basic formatting. If you want to go beyond this, if you have a little more knowledge and want to play around with it, you can go ahead and do more formatting. But just for what needs to be turned in right now, I just want to see some basic formatting. And you can, once you upload your file to your server, AppState server, then you can go back to Google Chrome and I can see how that is going to look on my website. So this is my first page for the website now. And I'm going to show you that other portfolio index page that I linked to. And this is the same basic information with just a little bit more formatting and with some images and a heading. And then of course I've added more things. But what you can do is you can go back later and reformat your index page and add to it as we go on in the course so that it's going to continue to change. But for now, you can have a very simple page with the basic formatting. And make sure that all of your hyperlinks work. Make sure that you have two pages, your index page and your text page with the additional formatting, and that they're both linked to each other. Feel free to post in social form or email me if you have any questions or concerns, and we'll get this page set up for this week.